Welcome to Chasing Circa Millions, a season-long journey swimming with the Sharks for a shot at a piece of $6 million. Each week of the NFL season, Dave and Matt will break down the schedule and come up with 5 picks against the spread to enter into the Circa Millions contest. Let's see what the guys come up with this week.
Good evening and welcome to Chasing Circa Millions, Week 7, where Dave and Matt pick 5 games each week to enter into the Circa Millions contest, looking to get a piece of our $6 million that they're offering up this year. Okay, Matt, I'm going to share how we did last week. Here we go. Okay, last week, not too good for us, very bad for us. We came out 1-4. We had a winner with the Seahawks. We had losers with San Francisco, New Orleans, Green Bay, and Washington. 1-4 in the week, 13-17 for the season. Now we're down to 3,310th place out of 5,700. We moved down 1,300 places. Little rough.
Yeah, it was a tough week last week, but you're gonna have bad weeks. I kind of like I mentioned to you earlier in the week. I feel like for the majority of the games, we're maybe getting the right side. We're just putting in the wrong ones, right? So, hopefully this week we can choose more of the correct ones than the than the wrong ones.
Let's hope so. I'm afraid that week may have played us out of the contest. We'd have to go on a ridiculous run like we've never had before to get back in it, but that's not saying we can't do it. We're going to give it a shot, give it our best right up until the end, and there's always the quarterly prizes
and
to play for, right? So I don't think we're in the position to play for the booby prize. So we'll go.
No, we need to have a lot more losses if we were playing for the booby prize.
Little different format we're going to this week, Matt. We're going to have a short discussion here at the start, and then as opposed to going through each and every game, we're going to probably just run down our best ones and see where we go from there, and we'll take it from that line of thought going forward. But first of all, just a point of discussion, I think our listeners will probably enjoy a little bit of the discussion part of this that we're bringing into Chasing Circa Millions. How about giving me, Matt, one of each, your surprise team and your disappointing team for the 2025-26 season?
Well, I think disappointing team is probably pretty easy. I mean, it's the Ravens, right? But it's mainly due to injuries. I mean, they're 1-5. They're on the bye this week. I mean, and the Ravens 1-5. I mean, you looked at their week 1 result, right? I mean, it's like they should have beat the Bills handily, and they lost by 1 point, and they were pretty much dead to rights. It seemed like to win that division, and now they're way behind the 8 ball. Now they have a chance, I think, like we mentioned, to maybe get it back. But yeah, I just it's hard to believe that the Ravens are sitting there at 1-5, right? Surprise team. Looking at the standings, I mean, the Panthers are 3-3. That's not too bad, actually. I know they haven't played anyone or really beat anyone like that great. Maybe Dallas win, I think, was pretty good, but they'd be a surprise team for me, I guess. I'd love to hear what you think. And maybe those were 2 kind of like layup picks, but.
Well, I think I have some layup picks too, but I guess that's why we're having this discussion. I'd say my surprise team is our New England Patriots. I mean, they're literally sitting in first place in the AFC East in front of Buffalo, which, I expected them to be better this year. I expected them to be maybe an 8, hopefully a 9-win team, but they're really playing well. They did beat Buffalo, and it was a fair win. It was at Buffalo, and Drake May's playing really well. We went against him last week, which is a bad idea. And they're doing well. As far as disappointments, I think another layup pick is the poor Cincinnati Bengals, although they did win last night. But, they had a lot of high hopes. They had a good chance to compete with the Ravens or whoever for the AFC Central title. And losing Joe Burrow just, down their season. There's a chance they could pull it back together. If Joe Flacco plays the rest of his games like he did last night, he might be able to keep the ship going until Burrow's back at the end of the season. So those are my 2 choices.
Right. Definitely. And I think, maybe one that I thought, just last point here, would be like one team that I thought was going to be a lot better than they are is the Raiders. I don't know what's going on with them. I mean, they really suck, and I thought at the beginning of the season maybe they'd have an outside chance of shaking things up a little bit in the division. No, they're terrible. So a little bit unfortunate there.
Yeah, and I think there's some other teams like the Cardinals and even the Texans, right, that are a little disappointing, but not to the extent of the ones that we mentioned.
And we didn't even mention the Jets or the Dolphins. So
No. Well, I think that was kind of expected, right? So,
right.
yeah, no surprise there. Okay, so moving on, I want to go over some next topic is I want to throw out some win totals for the rest of the year for you. That's why I
Sure.
asked you to bring the standings up. And I've got the whole list of them here, every team, but I'm just going to pick out a few and just quickly you tell me under or over. Okay. Jets, 4.5.
I would probably go under.
Okay. Patriots, 10.5.
Their schedule is very, very easy. They have like one of the easiest remaining schedules. 10.5 is a lot, but they do have at least 3 more division games. I can't remember who they played so far. Like in the division, they played Miami once, Buffalo once. Do they have 2 games left against the Jets?
Yep.
Well, they're already at 4-2. I would go over
Okay.
on the Patriots.
How about the Ravens? The 1-5 Ravens. The total right now is 8.5.
I would go over. Their remaining schedule is very easy, and if they could get Lamar back and get on a little bit of a roll, they could definitely go over. 9-8 seems very doable.
Okay. How about in that same division, the 4-2 Steelers, 8.5?
I would go over. I would also say they're probably going to be around 9-8.
Because we all know Mike Tomlin
Never has a losing season. Yeah.
never has a losing season.
Yeah.
Okay, let's hop to the AFC South. How's that sound?
Sure.
Houston, 8.5.
I would go under on 8.5. I think they are probably 8-9. They had too bad of a start, and that division's actually kind of good.
How about the Colts? They're now sitting at 11.5.
Getting to 12 wins is pretty tough. I would go under on 11.5. I think they can get to 11. The 12th one, I think, will be a little bit more difficult.
Yep, I think we're in agreement on that. Okay, let's keep going. This is kind of an interesting discussion. We'll go to the AFC West. Denver, 4-2. They're at 10.5.
I would go under 10.5. That is quite a tough division, and I think 10 wins would be great in that division.
Yep. And along those same lines,
it might get you the 5th wild card spot in the AFC.
Right. Along those same lines, the 4-2 Chargers also is at 10.5.
I would also go under. I would say 10 is probably fair.
Yep. Okay. Let's hop over to the NFC and go to the East. How about Dallas, 6.5?
I would go over with Dallas. I could see them getting 7 wins. They're playing the Commanders, who I think they could beat. They've shown they could beat anybody with that offense, right? I mean, it's just the defense is so bad. Yeah, I think 7 wins is fair. 7-9 is extremely fair for that team.
Yep. And they still have Philadelphia at 10.5.
Or I guess it'd be 7-10.
Yeah.
Philadelphia 10.5. I guess I would probably go under for Philadelphia.
Yeah,
I think
they've been a little disappointing.
10-7, I think seems pretty fair.
Yep. Okay, the NFC North right now, if you look at the standings, you've got Green Bay 3-1-1, Detroit 4-2, Minnesota 3-2, Chicago 3-2. So really, really tight race there. Big number in that division is Green Bay at 11.5.
I would go under on 11.5. I think they're closer to a 10-win team than they would be a 12-win team.
Yep, or even an 11-win team. And how about Detroit? 4-2 Detroit, 10.5.
I would go over on Detroit, 10.5. I think they've had some of their toughest games are kind of behind them, so I'd like the over for 10.5. I could see them getting to 12, honestly. I think they're one of the stronger teams in the leagues.
For sure. Okay, NFC South, New Orleans currently 1-5, total 4.5.
4.5's really low for how well I think New Orleans has played, actually. Because I don't think they're in the same category as the Jets, but I'd still go under. I think 4 wins is fair. I think getting that 5th one might be tough.
You spoke earlier about one of the surprise teams being Carolina at 3-3. Their total right now is 6.5.
Man, in that division, I'd go over it at 6.5. I think they could get to 7-10. They already have 3. You only need 4 more wins.
Right, and they've got to have New Orleans again. I don't have the schedule in front of me, but yeah, they've got a couple of division games, and those are going to be flip of the coin games anyway. So yeah, good chance of that. And last, they
might get Tampa Bay in a throwaway game, I think, in Week 18 to get them over that totals.
Right. last off in the wacky NFC West, where everybody's 4-2 except Arizona, who's 2-4. So they've got the 49ers, the Rams, and Seattle all at 10.5. Now that can't happen. So somebody's got to fall out of that, right?
I would go 49ers under 10.5. I would go Seattle probably under 10.5. And then I guess I would go Rams over 10.5 if I was choosing all three of those.
Okay. Buying on the buying on the lambs, sure. Okay, so that's kind of an interesting thing to look at. We're a third of the way through the season. I just was looking at this afternoon. I had taken the ones I liked was the Jets under 4.5. I liked Houston under 8.5, Indy under 11.5, Denver and the Chargers both under 10.5, Green Bay under 11.5 for sure. I had the Detroit over 10.5. I had New Orleans under 4.5 like you did. I had Carolina over 6.5 like you did, and I didn't know what to do with the rest, but those were just the notes that I made that were kind of interesting. So that's an interesting exercise. I think it wouldn't be the worst idea to get down on some of those options for sure. And those were all numbers I got from DraftKings today. So
Yeah,
they
the
seem,
Jets under 4.5 seems like, I mean, are they going to win a game? They're so bad.
yeah, it's pretty rough. If they're going to win a game, it might be this week. Anyway, so like I said, we're going to change the format up a little bit. This time around, we've struggled up to this point, so what doesn't hurt to change the format? So I sent you a note and said, Matt, I want to hear your top 5 picks from 1 to 5 right in a row, as opposed we can go back and look at the Circa prices, but I want to hear your thoughts on your games 1 through 5.
Yeah, so just like looking at the entire slate here, and I guess I'm going off the circuit prices for the most part. If I had to say my number one game, that would actually be the Texans +3. Um, for the Texans, I think, it's a good spot for them. They're coming off the bye. Hopefully, the last 2 weeks of offensive production, they've had a little bit to build off of, which is kind of what I'm banking on here. I just think Texans have too good of a defense to be giving up 3 points. I really do think their defense is the best in the league, especially coming off the bye. And you know, I don't think Seattle, and we kind of maybe talked about this. I can't remember last week or maybe just the week before. But Seattle, for some reason, is much better on the road than they are at home. Barring the New Orleans win, they've had a lot of their signature wins on the road. So I like the Texans +3. That would be my first pick. Do you want me to just keep going down
Yep,
the line?
keep going.
Um, you're gonna hate me, but my second pick, my second favorite would be the Titans +7. Um, the Patriots have covered 2 straight on the road. They're on their 3rd straight road game. Um, Going to Tennessee. Now, I'll completely admit the Patriots are a much better team. The Titans have looked terrible. Um, but laying 7 on the road, I don't know if the Patriots are there yet, right? They're a great team. They've looked good. Um, Past 2 weeks, they look good on the road against the Saints. They beat Buffalo, but I'm expecting the Titans to get up for this game. I realize it is kind of a revenge game for Vrabel going back to Tennessee, and I know he'll want to win that one. And maybe he'll, if they're up, he'll want to keep running it up on them. But the Titans got a new coach this week. I think their last coach was in his lifetime. I think he had 23 games and he was 4-19 against the spread. That's got to be like one of the worst coaching spread records of all time, with like minimum 1 season. So I'm expecting the Titans to pick it up a little bit this week, and hopefully, be a little bit better. And I think Cam Ward is not a bad player by any means. Going to my third pick, I'm back on the Packers this week. I know the Cardinals kind of got a solid cover last week against Indy, and Jacoby Brissett looked good, but I think the Packers are a much better team, and they had a little bit of a wake up call. I think, after the Bengals game, I thought that was a good spot for them. They ended up winning by 9. I think they could have won by more. I think maybe this has gotten a little bit too low on the Packers. I'm pretty low on the Cardinals. I don't really think they've been that impressive this year. So I like the Packers this week. Going to my fourth pick, kind of a very gross one as well. I like the Browns -2.5. probably maybe one of the only times the Browns will be favored. Just another one where, I think the Browns are much better at home than they are away. I think that the Dolphins, albeit they have, a decent enough offense, that the Browns defense is much better than, even the Dolphins offense is. And the Dolphins defense is so terrible that I think even maybe Dylan Gabriel can score some points on them. And it's supposed to be kind of like a windy game, so it just seems like in a messy game, I'd prefer to have the Browns with a great defense, and maybe be able to generate some points off of turnovers, hopefully, or just running the ball against Miami. I mean, you can do whatever you want against Miami defense; they suck. So, you know, I like the Browns this week as well. Uh, Last one, I'd say, my 5th one, and I was between a couple of them, but if I had to say number 5, I'd go with the Broncos at home. The Broncos have a great home field advantage, and, the Giants, they're off of 2 massive wins, right? I mean, Jackson Darts looked great, everyone's high on them, and the Broncos looked horrible in London, just horrible. So, they look so horrible, and the Giants have won, they're still 7-point favorites. Kind of is a fishy line. Fishy in like they want you to take the Giants, right? But I don't think this is the spot to take them. I think the Broncos are much better at home, even though they're coming back from London. I think that against this Giants defense, they'll have a good opportunity to put up some points and be a little bit better. And I think that Sean Payton will have a little bit of a solution for Jackson Dart. I mean, he just held Justin Fields, a basically running only quarterback, to doing nothing in that game, right? So they just need a little bit more offensive output, and they should be able to put the Giants away. I think 24-10. So I like the Broncos this week, and maybe some other ones that I think if I had to just mention off the fringe would be I like the Jaguars this week. At +3, they're a great international team. They have a good international following. I liked the Falcons, although that feels like it's a little chalky. And then I also like the Lions -5.5.
Okay. I think we're going to have some discussion tonight. Okay. I'm going to run through my 5. A couple of them are going to make you sad, but a couple might make you happy too. My number 1 pick is not one that you even mentioned at all altogether. And my number 1 pick was the Bears. I think the Bears are on the upswing. They're coming off a good win. They're a good home team. The Saints were just soundly beaten by the Patriots, and I'd say the Bears are maybe just a step below the Patriots, not a lot. And the Bears are at home. The Patriots were giving 3.5 at New Orleans, and now the Bears 4.5 at home. So I just don't see how the Saints are going to get to 20 points in this game. And the Bears have been typically scoring between 27 and 30 in most of their games. Their offense is really doing well. Their defense is not the greatest, but I don't think the Saints offense is that great either. I think if anything, the Saints have a better defense than an offense, and I think the Bears will have some good success against them. Okay, here we go. My number 2 pick was the Seahawks. I was looking at the Seahawks are on the upswing. They're playing very well. They're in a tight divisional race. Yes, they've had some troubles at home, but I think they're probably due to play a good game at home. And I'm not with the Texans. CJ Stroud, I'm not a big fan of his. They make a lot of mistakes. They do have a good defense, but their offense, I'm not sure can keep up in this game with the Seahawks and the weapons that they have. So that worries me a bit. My 3rd choice, you're going to hate me again, is I really like the Patriots this week, the more I thought about it. And I know that's the 3rd game on the road, and I know the new coach bounce theory, but I have a lot of stock in what I've been reading this week from Mike Vrabel. He's going there pissed off. He didn't like the way he was treated when he left there, and I think he's a great defensive coach. He'll have something come on ready for Cam Ward, and I think if they get the chance, he's going to run up the score on them. I think this is a game, if it was being played in New England, and let's say the line was, Titans 10, whatever, I'd probably be on the Titans on that game. But I just think in Nashville, in this spot, I think the Patriots are just going to run it up on them. Drake May is on a roll. He's got some receivers now. And I think this is going to be a really good game for the Patriots. Fourth up, like you, I have Jacksonville. I think without Puka Nakua in this week, that it's going to be a tough game for the Rams. They've kind of been a little underwhelming, the Rams. And the Jaguars, I think they're, like you said, they play well in the international games. They have a pretty good following over there. They're on the upswing. They're certainly been playing well the last couple of weeks. They're a good team, and me and the Trevor Lawrence Kool-Aid. So back on Trevor Lawrence. So I like Jacksonville. The fifth one, I like you had some difficulty with this one. I think I'm going to go with my last pick. I'm going to take Indianapolis Colts. I think they're a better team than the Chargers, and I don't think the Chargers have a great home field advantage. I think the Colts are getting points. We talked in the past, the Colts have a really balanced attack. Nice team. The Chargers are certainly a good team in their own right, but I think the Colts are playing well this year, and they seem to have their act together. Good passing, good running game, pretty fair defense, well balanced. I think they'll give the Chargers a good game in this one. The other ones I was actually looking at, which I went back and forth on that Packers Cardinals game. Originally, earlier in the week, I loved the Packers. And as I started looking at it, the differential in points and that type of thing is the Packers and the Cardinals are a lot closer statistically. Now they're not in wins and losses, but they're close statistically together. So as much as I don't like the Cardinals, I think they were a little bit better last week with Jacoby Brissett, and they're going to have him again this week. So they kind of scared me. The other game that I really liked at the end was the 49ers. I hear a lot of good things coming out of their camp this week. They do still have a ton of injuries, but they are getting George Kittle back. Pearsall might make an appearance. I think they're fine with Mac Jones, and I think they'll probably. It's a tough trip for Michael Penix to go out west to a tough place to play, San Francisco, and I think he's going to struggle in that spot. The last thing
Yeah.
before
I was about to say, just a quick comment on the 49ers. I basically put the 49ers on like the no-fly zone for me after that Fred Warner injury. I mean, when I looked at that one, it kind of for me felt like it was a similar matchup for the Falcons that they had against Buffalo, right? Like they should just be able to run all over them. They have no interior defensive line, no linebackers. Like it felt a little chalky. I agree. Like that, the 49ers probably is the sharper side. The matchup just felt so bad for them. So anyway, I just
Okay.
wanted to get that in before
Yep.
we move on to the next portion.
The last thing I'll say before we, start deciding on these games for sure, is the one thing that has moved is that Commanders Cowboys game. The Cowboys are now favored by a point, so that's moved a 2.5 right through the pick to the Cowboys being favored.
That is really surprising to me.
Yeah, it's surprising. I like the Commanders going in, but a 1.5 of value or 2.5 points of value is 2.5 points of value, right? So it's something that we need to consider for the contest, right? It's going to be there's got to be some money moved on the Cowboys for sure. I have not looked as of this afternoon. It was 56% of the bets and 75% of the money was coming in on the Cowboys. So somebody's playing the Cowboys.
Why though? But is CD going to play this week?
Yes, CD's in. Yeah, he's back.
Yeah, but they didn't need CD to put up 40 points on.
Right.
It's not like CD was the reason they were losing.
Right.
And I don't think CD is going to add another touchdown to their. I don't know about that.
I would say the thinking is that the Commanders' defense is not great. The Cowboys' defense is awful. So I think people are probably thinking the Cowboys are just going to plain outscore the Commanders in some sort of a 60 or 70 point game, right? It's got to be the thinking.
I guess. I mean, the Commanders' defense isn't great, but Jaden Daniels didn't do them many favors, right? I mean, he basically spotted the Bears like 14 points in that last game. I mean, he threw an interception on the goal line, and then Troy Krosky-Merritt fumbled. I mean, that's like a 2 touchdown swing that I think the Commanders should have won that game. and they were up 24-16, I think, at one point. They came all the way back and then kind of blew it. But um, anyway,
Okay. I think I can put down in pen. I'm on board with you on that Denver pick. I
well,
think
I
this
guess
is
let's just talk because we weren't really on any of the same ones except for the Jaguars.
the Jaguars. Yeah.
Yeah, we can put that one down because I'm more, especially with no Puka, I'm pretty confident in the Jaguars.
Yep. Okay, well, go Jaguars.
Just going through the ones that we discussed, the Browns, you have no cares because they're just so bad on offense, or
Um, the Browns Dolphins game, that's our be careful who you go against these bad teams, right? I mean, should the Browns be given the points to anybody? Should the Dolphins be given the points to anybody, right? I mean, um, the Dolphins certainly are having some problems in the locker room. I mean, Tua called them out last week and showed a total lack of leadership. And the Browns do have a good defense and they're playing tough for sure. Um, and there is going to be weather at that game. So, they have the Dolphins have a pretty good running game, but the Browns also have a pretty good defense. So I think I put the Browns down in pencil.
okay, just a thought. I'm fine with tossing the Bears in there. I Personally, I did like the Saints at +5.5, but 4.5, I was more neutral. My fear with the Bears was that they're coming off, a short week and a primetime win. Like that was a massive win for them. Um, so I was a little bit afraid to be laying points with the Bears. They'd be more of a team where I'd want to be receiving some points than be laying, but that was just my thought with them.
Saints are pretty awful.
They aren't that awful though. Like
Right.
they
I mean,
really
compared to
aren't.
the awful teams, I mean, they're way better than the Jets,
They're
for
better than the
sure.
Jets. They're
They're better
better
than
than
Tennessee.
Miami. They're better than Tennessee. I think
Yeah,
they're probably about even with the Giants. I think they're about even with the Giants is where I
right,
put them. Like Spencer Rattler, and we said this last week, like Spencer Rattler wasn't the reason they lost that game. The reason
right.
they lost that game is because Jawan Johnson fumbled when they were driving, and that basically just sputtered out the entire game, right? I mean, like I know they had some chances. They did stop the Patriots late, but and they didn't capitalize on that. But the main drive that they had going, Jawan Johnson fumbled when he was at the 40 and just gave them the ball back.
Right. If, this is
And I'm just having an open
this is
discussion on what
unrealistic.
I
Yeah,
what
this is an unrealistic scenario, right? But if you said the Saints are the same as the Giants, if you took out the Saints and put in the Giants at 4.5, I would take the Giants at 4.5. They have a really good running game, the Giants, right? And the Bears' run defense is not that
well
great.
the Giants at least I think the Giants actually have a good defense, and I don't know if the Saints have a good defense because Drake May just lit them up and threw for 3 touchdowns in the first half.
Right.
Do I think Caleb Williams can do that? No, but still, I see what you're saying. Like I see where you're coming from.
Yeah. I just think the Saints will have trouble keeping up in points. I think the Bears are probably good for, 24 to 27, and I'm not sure if the Saints are good for much more than 17, right?
Yeah,
Even on their best day.
fair enough. Okay.
So we got Jacksonville,
Um, let's see.
the Packers, the Packers. Um, I guess I can take the Packers minus the 6.5. I would hate them at 7, or definitely not at 7.5.
I guess, Packers was one that I liked also because like some of the other ones I was looking at, like the line wasn't like really that great. Like the Broncos game, like 7, obviously would have wanted like 6.5 there. Just a quick touch, like the Lions did 5.5 or didn't want to get Bakered again.
When we go with them, Baker does well. When we go against him, he sticks it to us, right?
Right.
The Lions
They're a
should
much
win
better
this
team.
game. They're a much
The
better
look
team. They're much healthier, right? Um, one would think that that's a fair assessment on your part. The Bucks, I don't know what they have coming up on their schedule. Whether this is a tough spot for them or not. Let me just take a quick look here.
my
Buccaneers.
fear with these primetime games has been the underdogs have done like really well in the primetime games.
Yeah, they
Like
certainly have, right?
way better than like the last like 3 years.
Yeah. Yeah, next week they go to New Orleans before their bye, Tampa Bay. So yeah, this is they got a home and then 2 away games. This is kind of they had Seattle, San Francisco, and now they've got Detroit, which is a pretty tough stretch, but they've beaten both Seattle and San Francisco, which are 2 pretty good teams, but they're not Detroit, right?
Right.
And this is also an NFC conference game, right? So it's one that the Lions won't be looking past. Yeah, I like the Lions. I think that's staying with a good
Pencil,
team,
maybe.
right?
Pencil,
That's
yeah,
staying
maybe a
with a good
pencil.
team. I think that's a fair pick. I think that's staying with a good team.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I guess we're crossing
We're
off
not,
Texans Seahawks because
yeah, I mean, Seahawks,
I love the Seahawks in general, but I just I can't lay 3 with them against a really good defense.
okay. That's fair. I mean, Seahawks was my number 2 pick. Your Texans was your number 1 pick. So I think we should just scratch that one off the list,
Right.
right?
And we're scratching off the Patriots game because even though I did like your argument for the Patriots, I actually don't want to scratch it off yet because I might be completely wrong. Like, I know it's like ugly, but I might
I
be
have,
completely wrong.
yeah, I have a really good feeling about the Patriots this week. I really think that they're going to stick it to the Titans just because of the whole. I don't, you know, they're the Titans. Not only did they fire their coach, their offensive coordinator was the coach's brother. You know, so he's gone too, and
I thought he was
they're
their
having a
offensive line coach, and it
yeah.
was the
I'm
coach's
sorry,
dad,
yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
So, you know, they've lost 2 big parts there. They've got a week to, you know, let's say they fired him on Sunday. They didn't get another guy in there till Monday, Tuesday, whatever. You know, it's been a short time to try and fix the issues there, right? Um, and I just think that Grable he was not happy with the way he was let go there, right? And if they get their chance, he's going to stomp on them.
I think that we should write the Patriots in. I think that we should go against what I'm thinking because I I agree. The Titans are so bad. Like they are very bad, and there is not like a lot going for them. I'm just only thinking like this is the 3rd road game in a row for the Patriots. Like when does the ticking time bomb stop with them? Right?
Yeah. And yeah, I will admit that the 3rd road game is usually a very bad spot for teams, right? But I think this might be an outlier just because of the situation, right?
Right. It's not
If
just a
this
random game.
was if the games were flipped and this week the Patriots were playing at the Saints again, I'd be all over the Saints again because of the 3rd road game thing, right? But I just
Right.
think that the situation is such that I think the Patriots are going to go in there and be very motivated for their coach
And at least if we're going down with a
with a good
team
team
that
against a bad,
a bad team. Yeah.
right?
Okay.
Okay,
So we got the Jags, we got the Patriots,
we
we
got the
have
Packers and the Lions.
I'm not 100% certain on Packers. I thought that was penciled. I mean,
Yeah,
it's a little scary because I admit like the Packers are not like statistically not that much better than the Cardinals.
yeah,
And
that's
the
correct.
Cardinals are the kind of team where I'd want to be on them if they were a dog, not a favorite. But you know, when I'm
And
looking at the
they are a
money
dog.
here, yeah, they'd be the kind of team I'd want to be on as a dog rather than a favorite. So it's like, but I look at the money here, and it looks like Packers are sitting at 7 on DK. Like maybe we should just take the points with the Cowboys. I mean, it's still 2 points of 3 points of value, right? Like,
2.5 points of value. Yeah. Yeah, I'm all for that. I mean, it's not a play I love, but it's a smart play,
right. I mean,
which, you know,
we took the points of value with Seattle, and that was fine.
yeah.
I think a couple weeks ago it didn't go our way, but
Yeah, and I think this is one of these I don't think the Commanders Cowboys will be a consensus game.
well, with the line move, it might be.
Well, yeah, with the
Most
line move
people
it might
do,
be. The smart people will be taking that value, right?
right. If there's a free 2 points, I'm gonna take it.
Yeah. Yeah. 2.5 points.
I guess I'd just say, like, personally, my most confident game, surprisingly, left of those available would be the Browns.
Okay. So if we're gonna and I'm fine with that.
I just think the Dolphins are
Are we
that
are we
bad.
gonna take out Green Bay and put in the Browns and go with the
I
Cowboys?
I don't want to leave out your number one pick though. If you like the Bears, because I can't really make a strong enough case for the Saints.
Um,
Or I guess I did make the case of why I hadn't selected the Bears in one of my top 5 picks.
right. Yeah, I think I'm okay with the Lions because we're taking another good team there, right?
Yeah,
I'll be very sad if, they're down by the Lions are ahead by 10 and then Baker comes down and scores some late garbage touchdown or whatever, right? But those things happen, right? So if we got Jacksonville, the Lions, the Patriots, and we got the value of the Cowboys, then yeah, I I'd actually prefer the Browns over the Packers.
well, what about the Bears?
Oh, we're back talking about the Bears.
Now, I guess I'd be between like our last three, just because like or our last two, just because we didn't initially really talk that much about the Lions. Would be between like Packers, Bears, Browns, and Lions for our last two.
Right. Um, yeah, my only fear is, the Bucks are a good team for sure, right? I mean, they're
I don't know if I can take another week of Baker Mayfield just like screwing me over.
he's 5-1, right? They're 5-1.
Right.
Um, they're a
And it was
good team.
great when we were riding with him. I wish we would have kept doing it.
Yes. Okay.
I think that we should go with our two most confident picks, which would be the Browns and the Bears.
Okay.
But I'm open to your thoughts, obviously.
Jacksonville Patriots. Yeah, I think we've
Unless if you're really, I know we didn't really talk that much about the Colts. Unless you're really confident on the Colts.
no, like that was down in my list. I was actually probably higher on San Francisco than the Colts even really, but let's just make sure we've got no interest in Raiders Chiefs. Is that correct? We didn't talk about that
I
game.
I would be
Eagles.
Raiders or it would be Raiders or nothing for me there.
Okay. Yep. Eagles Vikings. That to
I'm
me
gonna
is a
shoot
I,
myself in
I
the foot if the Eagles win that game by a bunch because it feels like you should be hammering the Eagles, but the line
right.
is damn near Vikings favorite. So
Yeah.
you cannot
And
take the Eagles there.
there's something fishy there, right? The Eagles with Vikings are going to Carson Wentz. The Eagles should win this game, right? The line's fishy.
Yeah,
Fishy line.
the Eagles should
I
be
don't like
like
it.
6.5 point favorites, but
Yeah,
in theory,
exactly. So yeah,
Panthers, Jets, the line
that's
moved
a
too
strange.
much.
Yeah, I would love, love, love to take the Jets because the Panthers are an 0-10 as favorites. Haven't won as a favorite since 2017. I mean, all the numbers are going against the Panthers, but I just couldn't, in my right mind, take the Jets at any point.
The Jets are
No,
terrible.
yeah, they're terrible.
You need like at least 9 if you're going to take the Jets.
Yeah, they're just a bad team. So, yeah, I think we got Jacksonville, we got the Patriots, Cowboys because of the line move, Browns and Bears.
Yeah, I think that's what we're going to have to go with.
Yeah, and we've got 3 favorites, 2 underdogs, so that's a good mix as well.
Yeah,
And we're due for a 4-1 or 5-0 week. Never had a 5-0 week, so
yeah.
um, we've played 18 weeks, 2 seasons, so that's 36, and then we're 6 weeks in here, so that's 42 weeks we played without a 5-0.
Have we ever had an 0-5? Maybe a 1.
I think maybe the first year we might have. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I think those are some good picks for sure. Um, and I just want to look at one more thing again. I think I probably already got rid of that. For some reason, it's not coming up anymore. I was just looking at, okay, this one. Back to this horrible thing here. Did that come up? Okay, there it is there. Yeah, I think one thing I wanted to do last of all before we sign off for the night, right, is kind of look back. Last week was a bad week, and we'll both admit that, right? Let's just talk about where we might have made some mistakes there. The Packers, I still think, even though we lost that, it was a good play because so few people ended up not taking the Packers, right? So if we had won that game, we would have jumped ahead of a lot of people, right? So I think it was a smart play for sure, right?
Yeah, I think with the Packers, it just maybe the mistake was I don't know if this was a mistake. I mean, Joe Flacco came in with 5 days to prepare for the game,
Right.
right? And the Packers are off a bye, and you know they're at home. Yeah,
Yeah. And the Commanders, I don't know how they lose to the Bears at home, right? I mean, we're on the Bears this week, but to me, the Commanders are at a different level than the Bears are. I think the Bears are a middle of the pack team, and the Commanders are probably playoff contenders, right? So bad on them. I don't think that was a bad pick, right?
yeah. I mean, we both liked it. I think you know, like I said, the Commanders they were up 24-16. They had a chance to put them away, and they were up 24-16 with an interception in the red zone and a fumble as well. So, you know, I think it was just kind of a. I'm not sure what happened. I See, the thing about the Bears and something we didn't discuss is like their first like drive is like pretty crisp this year. And I think that's just all coaching, right? Like it seems like when
Right.
they come out of the game, they have like a plan, like a scripted drive basically. Like this is what we're going to do and it like works. So when you
Right.
have that, that's a big advantage for you, right? So
Yep.
I don't know. I think
Yep.
maybe the only thing I'd look back at there is like say, hey, like the Bears off their bye, like there might be a little bit of variance here. We don't exactly know what's going to happen. Maybe we should look a different way.
Right. The last two, the 49ers, that's on me, right? I mean, I went
I
through
like
that
them
whole
too.
thing. Yeah, and I went through that whole, both teams had won their games by so few points, right? Um, that I just felt taking the points there was the right thing to do. I do think looking back, the bad pick was the Saints. We had talked about not supporting bad teams, right? And the Patriots are certainly on the upswing, and the Saints are terrible. So maybe that was a mistake on our part. I don't know. I mean, um, there's certainly no pointing fingers in this because I'd have to go back and look at the tape and figure out whether I think we were both on the Saints, right?
Yeah, I think I was probably a little bit more on the Saints. I mean, kind of like I mentioned, they had the fumble when they were driving, which kind of killed the entire game. I mean, they allow Drake May just to throw it downfield for explosive plays. They look terrible in the game. I would
Yeah.
say, looking at that, the biggest mistake on both of our parts was just the 49ers. I mean, they're so injured, right? I know they won that
But they've
Rams
been
game and
overcoming those injuries.
right,
I
right.
mean, look at the games they've won with, and like this week, for instance,
And I think maybe
they're way healthier this week than they've been in any other week, and they're
well,
still
I think also
all beat
maybe
up.
part of the problem was they were kind of like in line with Tampa Bay, and then Fred Warner got injured and they couldn't stop them from there, right?
Actually, I saw somebody or I listened to somebody today talking about that game, and they were going over the game script from the Tampa Bay San Francisco game. And it was literally Tampa Bay punted 5 times, Fred Warner got hurt, and Tampa Bay scored 3 touchdowns their next 3 drives.
Right. I mean,
Something along those lines. Yeah.
so
So yeah, that he made such a big difference being out of the game, right?
I mean, obviously we can say made a mistake here, made a mistake there, but when you have variance like that, like throwing
Yeah.
picks on in the red zone, players get injured, uh,
Guys drop the
person
ball
fumbles
before
on
go. Yeah. Fumbles on the
yeah,
goal line.
guy fumbles on the goal line. Like, maybe we can make a good handicap and stuff like that happens. Maybe San Francisco could have been in that game, but
Right.
and maybe
Yeah.
Washington could have been further ahead, and maybe the Saints could have gone down and scored if Jawan Johnson doesn't fumble, right? Like, I mean, those are the kind of plays where it's like that could be a 1-4 week turns into a 4-1 week.
Right. Yeah. It's just like, this week we're playing on Jacksonville. First quarter, Trevor Lawrence gets knocked out of the game. What are you going to do? It was still a good bet, right?
That
Still
might
a
be
good
better for us,
choice.
actually. That actually
No,
might benefit us.
do not say that about Trevor Lawrence. Never talk bad about Trevor Lawrence or Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
No,
So
never.
the NFL's top QBs right now are Baker Mayfield, Drake May, and Trevor Lawrence.
Yes.
We're taking a couple of them.
Don't forget Indiana Jones.
Indiana Jones. Yep.
He's also having a great year, so.
Yes, he is.
Okay, that's it for the new version of Chasing Circa Millions for this week.
I didn't get to see our new logo. Is that coming in the
Can't you see it down there? And can't you see that down on the right hand side there, or no?
maybe No, I can't. My own face was in the right-hand side, but
Oh, okay. I did
maybe
have
that'll be
our
a post-production ad.
it is it should be showing up on there, so I did add it
Oh,
to the screen, but our new logo will be in the front end of our podcast for sure, which will be up tomorrow.
okay, good.
Okay. Until next week.
Thanks for listening to Chasing Circa Millions. We always welcome feedback, suggestions, and criticism. You can reach us at @cornfieldgolf on Twitter. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, leave a comment, and cross your fingers for our picks.